Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Georgia, I hope you're well. Today we are going to be doing a reading style vlog, so this will be going on for quite a couple of weeks in the month. So I'm going to be continuing the series that I'm in the middle of. So my goals for this year were to finish some of the series that I started last year and also to read a lot of my physical TBR. So in this video I've picked 3 books I'm hoping to get read. I might not stick to this because it's going to be a bit of like a mood read sort of vlog as well, but I've picked 3 books that I would like to get to in this video. It might change. These are the 3 that I'm hoping to get read. One of them will be completing a series and 2 of them are just like sort of continuing in series that I'm really enjoying. So that's my goal for this video. I've picked 3 books, we're going to read them together and I'm going to give you sort of like updates as we go. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, my social media, my Amazon wishlist, my Goodreads and my business email are all in the description bar below. Let's get into the series that I will be continuing. So like I said, I've picked 3 books, I've got them here, so I just thought I'd give you a bit of a rundown. I have started one of them already. So one of the books I'd like to read in this book is Six Scorched Roses. Now this is teeny, it's literally only 150 pages, but this is the novella for the Crowns of Nyaxia series. So this is part of the, is it Nightborn or Bloodborne? I cannot remember. So this is one of the novellas for the Nightborn duet. So it's Serpent and the Wings of Night, and then this, which is Six Scorched Roses, and then The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and then Slain the Vampire Conqueror. So this is the little novella for between the 2 main books. I'm not entirely sure who this one is following. I think it's Lilith and Vale, but I have no idea who they are. So we will see when we get into this one. Caught Up by Liz Tom Ford. Now this is a sport romance and it's book 3 in the Windy City series. So this follows Kai and Miller. So Kai is a single dad and he is part of the NBL, which is baseball. I'm not very good with sports, especially all the American sports. So he's a baseball player and she is a high-end pastry chef, but it is a single dad nanny sort of situation. Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is book 4 in the Rebel Blue Ranch series and the last one in this series as well. So when I get to a last book in the series, it usually takes me ages to read it because I hate reading the last book in the series because I just don't want to be out of that world, especially if I've been loving it and loving the characters and the stories and things. I find it really difficult to read the last book because I just get so attached. But I'm going to do it, I'm going to be good, I'm going to read it. So this one follows Camille and Dusty. Now I am currently on chapter 16 of this book, so I am here. That's how far in I am. I'm not sure what that is as a percentage, but I'm really enjoying this one so far. So like I say, it follows Camille and Dusty. Now it is a second chance romance, single mom situation, golden retriever boy. But yeah, I am really enjoying this one so far. This couple has sort of been hinted at through the other books just because Dusty is so obsessed with Camille. So they were each other's first for a lot of things. So we do get dual POV but also dual timeline in this book. It goes back from like 15 years ago. So we get sort of like why there's so much tension between them. Like I love a dual timeline. I find it so interesting to see why the characters are how they are now, especially in sort of like a second chance situation. So I'm really enjoying this so far. So we're going to carry on with this one to begin with. I am loving it. I really enjoyed all of the series. I think I've rated all of them 4 stars, I think. I read Done and Dusted in like May of last year, so I have been reading the series for a while, but I've been reading them sort of as they've come out. So I love a cowboy romance and I love like that golden retriever energy from the male character, and it's also a single mom and I really like the single parent sort of situation. I think it's going to be quite nice. Obviously I don't know for definite, but I'm going to assume that he's not going to become a nanny, so I think it's going to be interesting to see that sort of single parent dynamic when it's not a nanny situation. Does that make sense? I'm going to carry on with this one, but these are the 3 books that I'm planning to read in this video. So we're going to carry on with Wild and Wrangled. Yeah, I'd say I'm about a third of the way, so I'm going to get back into this one and I will give you some updates as I have them. Sat down and finished Wild and Wrangled. Now I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a couple of days ago now, and I have the worst memory. Like once I've finished reading a book it's kind of like okay next, and then as soon as I start reading the next one the last one's out of my head. But I really enjoyed this book. It was such a sweet ending to the Rebel Blue Ranch series. We have had a hint at the next one. I mean she has announced it now anyway, but is it Sweetwater Peak or something like that? But we have had mention of some characters and somebody coming to visit from there and things. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Dusty and Cam's story is just so sweet. We've continued with that dual timeline, that dual POV, so we've got both points of view from like back in like 15 years ago, and then obviously all happening now. The progression of their story is just so lovely. Like, they have such a big history, and we find out what happened back then as well and why it stopped. But we also have obviously the progression of their current relationship now as well, so we're seeing them sort of like fall in love again whilst watching them fall in love the first time, which is just so sweet. I think they're about 17, but back when they were in school and things, they had such a lovely relationship, and like Cam's never really had anybody before. She has a very rough home life, and it was just all very difficult and weird. So like Dusty was her bit of sunshine in all of that. Their current relationship now is just like, watching them fall in love again is just honestly so lovely. So like, we get to see Dusty's relationship with her daughter Riley as well. There's just little things like swapping Christmas presents and things, like Dusty brings something little for Riley, but Riley's also made him a friendship bracelet and things like that, and it's just the relationship that they're building throughout this book is just so sweet. So throughout this book you realise just how like in love Dusty has always been with Cam. So Dusty's always been a bit of a free spirit, never really wanted to settle in one place, which was one of the big issues when they were younger. All the other characters play a massive part in this book as well. It really is a really lovely book to just wrap up the whole ranch. So like, we get like a lot about Teddy and Gus at the end. We get a lot of glimpses of Ada through this book. So Ada and Cam are really good friends, so we get a lot of like moments between those two, which is really lovely, because they're probably the most different to the rest of the ranch. Like, the rest of the ranch are massive family people, where like Ada and Cam are sort of not loners, but I guess in a way kind of loners. But yeah, it was just really lovely to see just the whole ranch get their like sort of happy endings, I guess. One thing I will say is I didn't like the third act conflict in this book at all. Like, I found it quite annoying. Like, it could have just been a conversation, but it just ended up being this big thing for absolutely no reason. Like, the third act conflict in this book did piss me off, I will admit, but how it was resolved was really lovely. Like, Amos's input and Ada and Wes's input and things, like how it was resolved was lovely, but it did piss me off. The epilogue was lovely, really enjoyed that. We do get a bonus chapter at the end of this book that made me cry. Now, I don't cry at books, so I was honestly quite caught off guard by this one. At the end of this book, we get Emmy and Luke's wedding, which is the couple from book 1. So we get all the couples that have like come up from all the 4 books finally getting married at the end of this book, and honestly it is so sweet and so cute. So we have Emmy's perspective on her wedding day, but she goes to visit her mum's grave and things, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking, and it's so sweet. And then you also get the wedding and the vows and everything like that, and it's just the cutest. And yeah, it did make me cry. So I really love this one. It was an absolutely amazing finish to the series. I've enjoyed all of these books in this series so far, and I would probably say that this might be my favourite of the 4. So I'm going to rate this one 4.5, but I don't know if a lot of that is down to it actually making me cry in that bonus scene at the end, that just wrapping everything up nicely. So this is our first finished book in this video. Let's move on to the next one. So the next book I'm planning to read, I think, for this video is Caught Up by Liz Ford. Now, this isn't on my TBR for July, but I'm really enjoying the romance vibes. I'm not really fancying picking up a fantasy right now, because the other book I was thinking was Siege and Storm. But I want to stick with the romance, and I'm really enjoying these series. I've been doing these on Audible. So the past few months I've done one of these as my Audible tokens. So I've done The Mile High and I've done The Right Move, both on Audible, and now I'm gonna pick up this one on Audible as well. My credit has just refreshed, so I'm thinking that this is a good one. So I'll probably do a mix of both. I've got a lot of jobs to be doing around the house. I've got a lot of tidying and things like that. So I do think I'll probably end up doing a bit of a mix of listening to this one and also reading the physical copy. So I think I might start the physical copy today, and then I'll switch on to Audible and things like that while I'm pottering around the house and getting all the work I need to get done. So this is book 3 in the Windy City series. So this one follows Kai and Miller. Kai is a baseball player. He's also a single dad. We see him briefly at the end of book 2. From what I know from the end of book 2, he literally cannot keep a nanny. So it says on the back, each of his previous nannies only last a few weeks before he lets them go, and now his coach is putting his foot down. So I'm really looking forward to this book. I really like a single dad nanny situation anyway. I think they can be really good fun. I also like that there's also a bit of a timeline, so it sounds as though like they've literally got until the summer and then it's over. So I'm hoping that the third act sort of issue will be around that and not just some stupid miscommunication. I'm really hoping it'll be the time's up and that's that sort of situation. I do like these books. They're spicy. There's usually a lot of like overlapping with the other characters as well, which I enjoy. So like these, I'm pretty sure Kai lives in the same building, or lived, because obviously they've moved now, but lived in the same building as, I wanted to say Ryan if I remember correctly. He lives in the same building as Ryan. So I think that's kind of like how we know each other in this one. So the next book that I'm planning to read in this video, Caught Up by Liz Tomford. So let's get straight into the second book. So I am back for a little update on this here book, and the update is I finished it. So I have no midway check-in for you, I'm not gonna lie. I devoured this book. I've been reading it on my Kindle and also doing like the audiobook when I went in the house. So I literally did this in like 2 days. If I went at home, I was listening to it. If I was at home, I was reading it on my Kindle. I have flown through this. I absolutely love this book. This is definitely my favourite in this series so far. I feel like each book from this series that I've read, I've like increased my rating. So I'm like praying that soon I want to get a 5-star out of this series. I rated Mile High 4 stars. I rated The Right Move 4.5, and I think I'm rating this 4.75. Like, I devoured this book. So this book follows Kai and Miller. So Miller is a high-end pastry chef. She's like really high up in her field. She's just won this really prestigious award. When she hits a bit of a slump really with recipes and stuff, she can't create any dessert, she can't create anything. She's just hit this rut and just needs a break. So she like leaves her sort of work for a little while and goes back to live with her dad for a bit. And then Kai is a baseball player. Now he is really protective over his sons. One of his ex-girlfriends just kind of shows up one day with a kid. Now the kid's called Max, and Max is the cutest little guy. So he's only sort of like 1.5, I think, around the time we first see him in this book. So he's really protective of his son, and like none of the nannies that he gets for him are good enough. So his nannies never last more than like a week. So that's obviously having a really big effect on his career because he can never get childcare last minute for games and things. Training staff are having to look after his kid while he's working and while he's playing games. His boss basically decides that his daughter will be looking after Max, and that's it. That's what's happening. No talking, no discussion. That is the plan. So that it's a break for Miller and it's like childcare for Kai. And that's sort of where this book starts off. Now, I love a single dad nanny trope anyway. I really like it, but this one was quite different to a lot of the ones I read in that for this one there is a timeline for it. So it was literally just that she was going to be there for the summer. She had 3 months off of work and then she was going back. She had to go back. So that's what happens. They build up this really good friendship. They have a lot of banter. He doesn't know how to have fun anymore. He is just dad, and then he plays baseball, and then he's dad again, and he has no fun. He has no life outside of being a parent anymore. And Miller basically tells him that she's going to show him how to have fun again. So there's just that constant banter. Like, I feel like Liz Tomford writes such good banter between characters, and I love it. I ate this up. We have a lot of back and forth with that. We have a lot of show of like anxiety for Miller and towards her job and things, and we also have like the anxiety Kai has as a parent. Like, he literally doesn't know what to do other than being a dad. He's so sweet with Max, and like I said before, Max is just the cutest little guy. So yeah, we see sort of this relationship develop as time goes on. They know that they've got this deadline, but then that friendship sort of turns into this relationship, and like little things slip, and Kai's old personality starts to come back out, and they get quite flirty, and then the flirting develops into more. And everybody knows that they're just obsessed with each other, but they're refusing to see it. It gets to the point where Kai is very openly obsessed with Miller, and Miller's trying really hard to pretend she doesn't feel the same way because she knows that at the end of summer she's going, and that's that. So there's just a lot in this book that I really enjoyed, like the relationships between all the characters. We see a lot of the couples from the first 2 books as well. Like, they have family night at Ryan and Indy's house, and CV and Xander's are there, and it's like we're just getting clips of their like progression in their relationships as well, because obviously you get the epilogues, which are usually quite a bit later, but then you're sort of seeing them get to those points as we work through these books, which I'm really enjoying. And I really enjoyed the sort of like third act problem with this one, because it wasn't just a petty thing. Like, she has to go back to work, he can't go with her because of Max and because of his job. Like, it's an understandable third act conflict. It's not just them being petty, and I really like how it was resolved and how it turned around, and sort of like the conversations that were had to get them to that point were just really lovely. So I really enjoyed it. This is definitely my favourite of the series so far, so 4.75. I really enjoyed this one. Let's pick book 3. So I think the last book that I'm going to pick up in this little reading vlog is Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. Now this is the novella in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, so this comes between book 1 and book 2. So I read book 1, I want to say like April time, it might have been a bit longer ago than that, but like book 2 in this series is like 800 pages long and it's really daunting and I just can't bring myself to read it yet. So I'm really hoping if I read this, it'll put me back in the mood to sort of carry on with this series, because I do really enjoy it and I really like Carissa Broadbent's writing. So this is my plan. It is only teeny, it's literally 150 pages. But the writing is quite small. Yeah, literally 158 pages. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I don't really know who this follows. It says Lilith, but I don't really remember who Lilith is, if I'm honest. So this is the 3rd book that I'm going to pick up in this little reading vlog. So let's crack on. So I sat down this morning and finally started Six Scorched Roses. So I'm currently on chapter 11. And I'm really enjoying this one so far. It's a really like interesting little story. We have our main character, Lilith. She goes on about having this like relationship with death. They know each other really well. She's known him since the day she was born. Like, it's been a bit of a rough life for her. She's a scientist, and her entire town is cursed. They are all getting this sort of like illness. Everyone's getting really poorly, and they basically turn to like dust. But yeah, so there's her and her sister. Now her sister is also really poorly. Like I say, Lilith is a scientist, so she's sort of trying to find a cure for this sort of plague that is running through her town. If my understanding of it is correct, I think it's basically that somebody really pissed off one of the gods and the gods then plagued the town. So she's looking for a cure to save her town and to save her sister, because her sister's really poorly, and basically she's under the mindset that like her sister was never meant to die, but she was. Basically Lilith comes up with this idea of like going to the vampire in town that nobody should go to. Like, he's known to be quite like nasty and nobody goes there, and everybody that goes there never comes back. And she's going to him to basically trade vials of blood for 6 roses. So every time she goes, she wants 6 vials, and every time she goes, she will give him a rose in exchange. So basically she's going there to take these vials of blood so that she can look into it and see if there's basically anything that she can take from that to help make a cure to save everybody. So that's where we're sort of at. She's been to visit him a couple of times now, exchanged the roses, and they've started to sort of spike up these conversations. Yeah, it's not really a romance at the moment, but they're just sort of having these more in-depth conversations and like getting to know each other a little bit. But I'm really enjoying this so far. I am gutted this is only 150 pages because I'm really enjoying their story. I really like their characters, I really like their story, so I'm looking forward to finishing this book. So that is my plan for today. I'm not at work, so I'm going to get cozy on my little reading chair and I'm going to get back into finishing this book hopefully today. So I will see you guys with my final thoughts on this one. They like write these little notes to each other, and honestly it's just so cute. I don't know what it is about it, but I just love when there's like little notes in books. I just think it's so sweet. It's one thing I just really enjoy. But yeah, I'm loving the progress we're making with this book and sort of like watching them fall for each other over time. It's just like so sweet. It's like every time she goes home from visiting Vale, like her sister's that little bit worse. You can just see the motivation that it's given Lilith to sort of like make this better and to find the cure, and it's just, ugh. I do feel for her. I do feel for her so much, because like Mira really just wants to spend her last days with her sister, whereas Lilith's like, yeah, but I want to make this better, I want to fix it. And you can just see that dynamic and that sort of like tension in their relationship. It's just, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. Let's keep going. The last chapter. This sets up the next book so well. So well. Let's review. I have just this minute finished this book, so I just wanted to give you a little update and a rundown on my final thoughts. Also, I don't know if I've showed you this, but how stunning is it without the dust jacket on? Like, it's gorgeous. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. So our main character, like our main male character, Vale, like I said before, is a vampire, and he is like a proper loner type. He doesn't really have many visitors. He has visitors rounds for certain needs and then sends them on their way. They really strike up like this relationship, and it's so nice to see. He becomes like so interested in the research that she's doing, and like she shows him all the information and like what she's actually doing when she's taking these vials of blood. We did have like a protector moment in this. So Lilith is travelling really far to get from her house to Vale, and she's not the strongest of people. So she's been on these travels to and from her house. On one of her adventures over to his house, she gets sort of like attacked by this group of men. So we do have that like touch her and die sort of moment, which I really like in a book. I really enjoy those. So I have been loving this. I really enjoyed this one. I'm actually quite shocked by how much I enjoyed this book, because it's just so tiny. Like, you don't expect to get so invested and so hooked into a story when it's only 150 pages long. I really enjoyed the ending of this book. I think it was done really nice. And I can't really explain it without ruining it for you, but we finally figure out why there was this curse in the first place, and we get this lovely ending, which I think is going to play really nicely into book 2. So I think I now know why this novella was done and how this is going to relate to the next book in the series. But I am definitely looking forward to seeing more of Lilith and Vale. I love their relationship. I think it's so interesting and so sweet. So I am definitely looking forward to continuing on with the series, which is the whole reason I read this book, was to try and get me back into wanting to read the next book. So let me just show you how big the next book is. This is the next book. Like, it's not small. 726 pages. Like, it's meaty. That's going to take me a very long time. But I enjoyed Serpent and the Wings of Night so much, and I've really enjoyed Six Scorched Roses. I think we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it soon. We're definitely going to have to jump into this one at some point in the near future, because I just love Carissa Broadbent's writing. I love the characters. I love how I love how she tells a story. I just find her so interesting, and I love it. Like, her writing really puts you there. You can picture everything that's going on. You can picture the scenes. You can picture the faces, the people. And I just love it. I get so lost in the story. So I do think we're going to have to do it soon. We're going to have to. And plus, the next duet's out now. So, like, well, I say the next duet. The first one in the next duet's out, and the second one comes out, I want to say, next month. So I need to do it eventually. I need to just crack on and just get in with it, because I love it. I love the story. I love the world. I love the magic systems and the vampires and everything. So I need to just crack on. Okay, so I think I'm going to end up rating this one probably a 4 stars. I don't really like rating novellas because, I don't know, they just don't feel like a full story a lot of the time. But I'm going to say 4 stars for this one. I really enjoyed reading it. I just think it was so lovely, and I can't wait to see more of these characters. 3rd book down. So that is everything for this video. I have continued on with 3 series. So I've now finished the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and I have read the little novella from this one, and I've read the 3rd book in the Windy City series. I have loved doing this video. I think it's a really good way to get me sort of like reading and a bit more up to date with my physical TBR, because I am slacking. But that is 3 more books ticked off my physical list, so I am very happy with that. I do think I'm going to do sort of like a series tracker. I've seen a few people do it, so I think at some point this month I might go through and do that, because I think it's just going to be a nice way to sort of track where I am with everything. And then when I do these sort of videos, we can sit and update it, which I think will be a lovely little way to end off the video. So I think at some point I'm going to sit down and do that. But yeah, that is everything for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed filming it. I really like these sort of vlogs. I just think they're a really lovely way of just sitting down and sort of reading together. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and all that fun stuff. And as always, my social media, my Amazon wishlist, my Goodreads and my business email are all in the description bar below. I really hope you guys are doing well, and take care.